Most people believe that if someone betrays your trust, they will either confess or get caught. But real life doesn't work that way. The truth is, guilt doesn't stay silent. It leaks. It shows up in tone, in behavior, in small changes that feel good at first, but slowly start to feel strange. A woman who feels guilty rarely tells you the truth. Instead, she starts acting different. She may become sweeter, more affectionate, more generous, more attentive. And if you don't understand what's happening beneath the surface, you mistake guilt for love. That's what makes this so dangerous. You think the relationship is improving, when in reality, something inside her is trying to cover up what already happened. Today, I'm going to show you 10 psychological signs that often appear when someone feels guilty after crossing emotional or romantic boundaries. These are not accusations, they are patterns. And when enough of them appear together, they quietly reveal what words never will. So if you've ever felt confused by sudden changes in a relationship, if something feels different but you can't explain why, pay close attention, because what you're about to hear could give you the clarity you've been missing. Guilt is one of the most powerful forces in the human mind. When someone crosses a boundary they know they shouldn't have, their brain goes into emotional conflict. One part of them wants to hide the truth. The other part feels uncomfortable carrying it. That tension doesn't disappear, it looks for relief. And instead of confessing, most people try to balance the emotional weight by changing how they act. They become kinder, more giving, more attentive, sometimes even more loving. Not because the relationship suddenly improved, but because their conscience is trying to reduce the discomfort of what they did. This is called emotional overcorrection. The mind tells itself, if I treat them better, maybe I'm not really a bad person. So guilt doesn't usually create distance. It often creates performance, a performance of love, a performance of loyalty, a performance of connection. That's why the signs you're about to learn are not about catching someone. They're about understanding how guilt quietly reshapes behavior. Once you understand that, you stop being confused by sudden affection, random generosity, and emotional shifts, and you start seeing the truth underneath. At first, it feels amazing. She hugs you more. She texts you sweet messages. She says, I love you more often. She suddenly feels warmer, closer, more emotionally present. And a part of you thinks, finally, things are getting better. But here's what most people don't realize. When someone feels guilty, they often try to restore emotional balance by increasing affection. It's not always about love. It's about easing their conscience. Inside, her mind is saying, I crossed a line. I need to make up for it. So she pours attention, tenderness, and romance into the relationship to quiet the discomfort she feels inside. Real love grows gradually. It's steady. It's consistent. But guilt-driven affection comes in waves. It appears suddenly, intensely, and often without a clear reason. This doesn't mean affection is bad. It means timing matters. When warmth skyrockets overnight, it's important to ask yourself, is this natural connection or emotional overcorrection? Out of nowhere, she starts giving you things. A new shirt, your favorite food, something you mentioned once months ago. It feels thoughtful. It feels loving. But psychologically, sudden generosity is often a way people try to relieve guilt without facing the truth. When someone feels they've done something wrong, their brain looks for a way to pay it back. Giving becomes easier than confessing. Buying something is easier than being honest. This doesn't mean every gift is suspicious. It means timing matters. If generosity appears suddenly after emotional distance, secrecy, or a shift in behavior, it may not be about affection. It may be about restoring balance inside her own mind. Real care is consistent. Guilt-driven giving is sudden. So accept the gift if you want, but don't let it distract you from what really matters: patterns, not presence. She suddenly wants to know everything: how your day went, what you ate, who you were with, what time you got home. On the surface, it looks like she's becoming more caring and involved, and part of you enjoys that attention. But when curiosity appears all at once, it often isn't about connection. It's about control and distraction. When someone is hiding something, they naturally want to shift focus away from themselves. By keeping you talking, reacting, and sharing, she keeps you from noticing her own changes. Real interest feels natural. It includes remembering what you say, supporting your goals, and being emotionally present. Guilt-driven interest feels different. It's repetitive. It's oddly timed. It feels like she's filling space. So pay attention to how it feels. Does it make you feel understood or simply occupied? Because those are two very different things. You ask something normal. Where were you? Who were you with? How was your evening? And suddenly, her tone changes. She becomes tense, short, irritated, like you just accused her of something. That reaction isn't about your question. It's about what the question touches inside her. When someone feels guilty, their nervous system stays on alert. Even harmless curiosity can feel like a threat because it risks exposing what they don't want to reveal. So instead of calmly answering, she reacts with frustration or anger, not to push you away, but to protect herself emotionally. A secure, honest person can answer simple questions easily. A conflicted person can't. Watch her body language. Watch the shift in energy. Defensiveness over harmless questions is often a sign of inner pressure, not outer conflict. Out of nowhere, her habits change. She starts cooking more, watching what you like, spending more time at home, acting more involved in your world. At first, it feels like progress, like she's finally investing in the relationship. But real growth doesn't happen overnight. It builds slowly through conversations, understanding, and shared effort. When change happens suddenly and without explanation, it's often not growth, it's compensation. Guilt makes people try to rewrite the emotional story. They add positive behaviors to cover something they don't want seen. These changes aren't fake, but they aren't rooted in truth either. They're rooted in fear of losing what they already damaged. So don't just look at what she's doing. Look at why it started happening now, because sudden transformation is rarely random. The woman who used to ask where you were going or who you were with now smiles and says, "Go enjoy yourself. I trust you." At first, it feels like relief, less tension, less questioning, more space. But when freedom appears suddenly, it often isn't about trust. It's about balance. When someone feels they crossed a boundary, their mind looks for a way to make things feel fair again. If I broke the rules, maybe he should have the same freedom. This is called emotional projection. It's not real openness. It's a quiet attempt to ease inner discomfort. True trust builds slowly through honesty and consistency. It doesn't arrive overnight. So enjoy the freedom, but pay attention to the timing. If it replaced years of insecurity without explanation, it may not be growth. It may be guilt adjusting the rules. At first, her phone becomes guarded. It's always locked, always face down, always in her hand. Every notification gets immediate attention. Then suddenly, everything flips. The phone is left out, unlocked, even offered to you if you need it. On the surface, it looks like transparency, but psychologically, this is often performance, not honesty. Right after someone feels they have something to hide, they protect it. But once guilt sets in, they realize secrecy creates suspicion. So they do the opposite. They act overly open, knowing anything that mattered has already been deleted. This creates the illusion of trust while lowering your guard. Most people fall for it because it looks like proof of honesty. But real openness doesn't switch on and off like a light. It grows slowly and naturally. When someone suddenly starts trying to look trustworthy, it's often because they're worried you might start looking deeper.